Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission meeting for September 23rd, 2025. Roll call vote, please. Roll call, please.
Ms. Allen.
Over here. Present.
Mr. Foster.
Present.
Mr. Hanson. Absent. Ms. McSwain. Absent. Mr. Peterman.
Yes.
Mr. Rice.
Present.
And Mr. Barham.
Present.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. We have before us the meeting minutes from the August 26th annual meeting. We will need a motion and a second for approval.
Move to approve. No second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussions? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barham.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Mr. Rice.
Yes.
Mr. Peterman.
Yes.
And Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. For our old business, which is always interesting business, we have our Port of Virginia update. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chair Allen, and morning, Councilman Dodson and Councilman Hugel. Members of the PPIC board, thank you for this opportunity to come before you and give just a brief Port of Virginia update. First and foremost, I think of something that's exciting for the city of Portsmouth and Port of Virginia was the arrival of the Charybdis this past week here in the harbor. If you haven't had a chance to drive there off of the MLK connector on the 164 and look to your right, there at PMT is the first purpose-built Jones Act compliant wind turbine installation vessel called the Charybdis. So it's a pretty exciting, just if you're interested in maritime activity, which I know most of you are, that's a pretty big milestone to see that particular vessel for this industry finished and here in the harbor. So again, if you haven't had a chance to drive by, please do, because that thing it's massive and it's going to obviously be working between PMT and the Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind Project for the months to come. So again, I think that's a real kind of a feather in our cap as a community, as we'll support that project at PMT along with all of our vendors. So again, that's something that's got, I think, a lot of recognition. I know I get a lot of these email newsletters from various maritime interests, and to see Portsmouth, Virginia, Portsmouth Marine Terminal and the Charybdis connected, that's, I think, something, again, just to recognize and exciting to see. As relates to volume, in these currently we kind of, are seeing some ebbs and flows month over month. This peak season, I think, has been a wide peak season where a lot of shippers have, sort of front-loaded volume into the market to get ahead of any sort of hiccups that might be on the horizon, or just to sort of mitigate costs associated in the current trade environment. So just to give you a sense, because there's been some recent headlines about overall volumes, looking at August over August, very much was comparable. Unloaded imports, in fact, we did 1,000 more loaded imports in 25 than we did in 24. So though, yes, the volumes are kind of, going up and down month over month. August was a decent month as we look to loaded imports. There's excitement, obviously, here in Portsmouth as we think about the activities on Virginia Avenue with Raymont Logistics at the Norfolk Portsmouth Beltline site, as well as off Harper Avenue with the long grain. Both of those transload operations, which have come before you as the PPIC over the past months, are in now what I would say is construction phase for more or less all intents and purposes. So very exciting. Those long-term projects are really going to net on the export side. So that's something also of a tremendous benefit to the port and obviously to this community, and opportunity to convert empty containers into loads with products that are coming from the Mid-Atlantic and the Commonwealth, thinking about grain and soybean and other type of products that will be transloaded through those two operations. So it's good to see dirt moving, as we always are. For those in the development community, that excites us, seeing the dirt moving and new development happening here in the city of Portsmouth. And then finally, at the end of the month, and which is today's the 23rd, so I can get close. I cannot believe it. October's in front of us here almost. Another neat arrival here in the harbor. We're going to be receiving 4 new ship-to-shore cranes. Those are the big cranes that work the vessels. They're going to be arriving at Norfolk International Terminals. I think current ETA is 28, 29, 30, somewhere there. Again, something just to be on the lookout. It's a pretty neat visual to see these 4 erected, built, shipped to shore cranes actually affixed to the deck of a vessel. It definitely boggles your mind to think how that vessel has been capsized because of just the sheer size of these big cranes. So that's happening here in the next less than 10 days. We'll see that happen over at NIT South. We continue to make great progress at NIT North. And then also just a testament to the folks over at VIG Portsmouth, VIG Portsmouth, and that, you know, we continue to provide quality service to our trucking community. The turn times, as we are in our peak season, these next few weeks are going to be some of our busiest of the year. We're continuing to maintain a sub 50-minute turn time. And so what that means, a truck driver comes into the port at VIG and completes its, you know, its duty or its mission, and that would be dropping off and picking up a container and then back out, heading to a warehouse or a destination. And that's happening in the 42 to 48-minute range over the past few weeks. And so that's, again, testament just to the folks working over there that they are providing best-in-class service to the trucking community. I'll leave my remarks there, but happy to receive any questions if they have to be in.
Is that
Good
time
morning.
gate to gate?
Mr. Peterman?
No, I just asked if that time was gate to gate, because I mean, I see trucks parked along the roads or whatever.
Yeah, happy to address that. So that time is actually, once they kind of enter in the Wild Duck Lane, Virginia National Terminal approach. Now, so that's actually sort of off the 164 interchange where we begin. We call that an expanded. Gate to gate actually gets even better. So we like to be a little broader, to be more forthcoming, and give that expanded, we call expanded turn time. And that's really, we're trying to achieve a sub 50-minute expanded turn time. To your question regarding the queuing that happens on, we call it Lollipop Lane, but I think it's called Renfro Avenue or something. And you'll see on the shoulder at 164, which our port police are always trying to manage and administer that so it doesn't become by any means a safety or congestion impact. Those are trucks that have arrived a few minutes prior to their reservation. You know, as a Port of Virginia, we run a reservation system. So every truck that's arriving has made a reservation up to 48 hours before their arrival. So when you come by maybe at 12:15 or 11:15, you'll see a few trucks sometimes queuing up just because they have arrived early before the 30-minute grace period. Because though you do make your reservations in 1 hour increments, so 6 to 7, 7 to 8, in that sort of sequence, we do give a courtesy 30-minute buffer both on the front and the back. As we know, traffic happens, right? Hampton Roads, we all experience that. And so they're just on the front end of their buffer window, but by the 30 point of the hour, you'll see that queuing goes away. Obviously, we don't want long-term queuing, and that's where our port police are actively monitoring and assisting the drivers.
No, the only reason I ask is Western Freeway was a parking lot, last week, because the off-ramp was clogged, the right lane was blocked, and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there are moments of the day, I think, and I can't recall what happened last week, but yes, if there are moments of power outage or something will hiccup, you're right. But by all means, our police force, working with the city's police force, we are actively trying to resolve any of that 164.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Councilman Dodson?
The name of the ship for the wind turbines again was?
The Charybdis.
Spell it, please.
Yes, I actually wrote it down myself. It's, I got that. I couldn't say it. It's CHRY, excuse me, CHARYBDIS. And that is, you have to Google it because it's got some sort
It
of.
was on the internet this
It's like a
morning.
mythical creature.
It's that
or
mythical
something.
creature of the sea or something.
Yeah.
From ancient Greece.
Don't mind if I want to publicize, I can get pictures online.
Yeah, Dominion has, and maybe the city of Portsmouth does such a great job. Your marketing team is always on top of it. But yes, Dominion Energy on their LinkedIn feed, I've seen a couple photos. And by the end of this meeting, I'll give you the name of a gentleman who happens to be what I feel is a professional photographer, but he shares a lot of his images online. I'll give you his name. He's got some great photos of it coming into the harbor. So I'm gonna look it up after I'm done talking.
And I want to continue. So we hear your numbers about how the performance is, but how does that compare to industry standards and other ports for the times? How is
It's
it pricing the ports?
Yeah, so that's a great question. In the first half of CY 25, there was this effort to receive imported cargo quickly because of pending tariffs, right? I mean, we look back and we saw some of the proposed tariffs. We can see now, as we stand here in September, where companies who are bringing products into our country began to find the quickest and shortest routes, not the actual final destination, but where are those gateways to bring the cargo in quickly because of this clock calendar. So if you look at like LA Long Beach, they had great spring numbers. Their spring numbers out of LA Long Beach were significant growth that they hadn't seen. But that was because geographically, distance-wise from Southeast Asia, that was the quickest routing. So those importers, and it's everybody you can think of, they just wanted to get the product into the market as quickly as possible. And then leverage the domestic, if it's intermodal rail or truck, but get it into this country, right? So there was a big boom, as well as in New York, New Jersey, as they have a higher, in New York, New Jersey, and Savannah, they have a higher number of first-in calls, meaning when the vessels are coming from overseas, as they stop at multiple ports along our coastline, the way the strand kind of works out, it's maybe New York first, Port Virginia second, Savannah third, or reverse. And so there was a disproportion, again, tied to what was thought at the time, the urgency to beat impacts that might be associated to, what might be a tariff or something like that. So that's all sort of shaken. It's all, it's worked itself out. But definitely you can see the numbers where definitely there was.
No, I mean your gate times. How do gate times?
So gate, great. I mean,
how are they compared to the street?
the best. I mean, 60 minutes is sort of where you want to be in the trucking community. Our motor carriers, that's an area where, we've committed to them that we're going to do our part, because that 60 minutes enables them obviously to drive more miles and be out there on the road. So we're under 60 minutes. I feel the community is very happy with that performance. So being sub 50 minutes, which is our new benchmark, we hold ourselves, just because we can do 60, let's go ahead and look for 50. And that's what we are internally. Our benchmark is 50 minutes, and we're well below 50 minutes now. So, I mean, it's perfect. It's something the community appreciates, and it's adds to nets more moves for that truck driver. It's great. They don't have that.
You don't have any comparison numbers though.
Well, I can give you the numbers. Because I'll give you the exact numbers. I have them verbatim in my mind. I don't remember. But I can tell you, we are by far best in class on the East Coast, really any coast. Yeah, I can follow up with you. Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Chris. As always, informative, and we look forward to seeing you at the next script spelling bee.
Last place. My tough subject. I'm glad I wrote that.
Okay, next up, the Virginia Port Authority Quarterly Board Meeting. The next meeting is October 28th, Brian.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a reminder, we do have an upcoming board meeting, October 28th. That's the Port Authority board meeting in Norfolk, I believe is where that will be held. And Commissioner Foster has volunteered to attend those meetings. Mr. Foster, you may have some additional information to share, but I haven't seen an agenda yet for that meeting, but just want to make sure everybody's aware of the date. Doesn't sound like there's anything to add there.
Okay, thank you.
I take that as a confirmation of his attendance.
Yeah, I'll be there.
28th.
Okay, thank you. Next up, American Cruise Lines. Charlie.
Yes, Madam Chair, there's not much new news on this. We continue to work with the senior management of American Cruise Lines and our utilities and engineering public works folks to determine the cost of what it's going to be to create water and sewer access for these vessels that call here in Portsmouth. So that's moving forward. We need to give a little shove and put it in higher gear. Nonetheless, they've committed to between the rest of this year and in 26 about 22 port calls here in Portsmouth. So, I'll pass out the schedule that everybody can take a look at. And if you got a little extra jingle, you can jump on one of those cruises. Despite our best efforts, no discounts are being offered, but it's a welcome opportunity and they're committed to come and they're happy as they can be. The next item is the DeLong facility project. Two things on this. We continue to work with their team to help guide them on the construction and development of the facility on Harper Avenue, with the guidance from our legal department on the company enjoys some immunity from city zoning ordinances and approvals, but they're paying attention to it and continue to work with our folks to be conscientious about it all. So that's moving forward. The big news is that the port infrastructure grant application was delivered to the federal government on September 11th. So that's $16 million ask of the feds on about a $22 million project. Since that submission, Brian and I had, Mr. Donahue and I had met with the representative of Senator Kane's office to bring them aware of where we are with this particular project and the particulars to see if they can sort of push it up on a federal level and investigate and where they might be able to apply a little bit of delicate pressure to be sure we're successful or the company's successful in getting the grant.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Any questions, comments, concerns? Councilman Hugel, good morning.
Good morning. So, Mr. Baumann, do you know if American Cruise Lines has any shore excursions in Portsmouth? And I'm kind of wondering, for instance, does Alex Benitez have the schedule? And are we advertising the downtown museums to the ACL folks as they come ashore? It just kind of feels like we may be missing an opportunity to have them walk off the ship and climb on a bus to go to Williamsburg when we got stuff right here in downtown
That's right.
that maybe we aren't doing a good enough job of engaging them on.
Awesome. So Councilman, I can respond to that. They have, in the time that they've called on Portsmouth, worked with the tourism office and museums for their scheduling of their itinerary and shore visits. So they answer your question. Yes, they do tour Portsmouth. They've been on since our involvement, a number of walking tours.
I've seen those.
In addition to that, they have also coordinated some travel to the casino, I think, has been one area of interest. But they are working with museums and tourism. We will confirm that they have this schedule as well. I'm pretty certain they do. But we'll make sure that they have the current scheduled visits. But they're working closely with them. They do a lot of things outside of the city as well. This is kind of the home base for the few days that they're here in Hampton Roads. But they do travel throughout the region as well.
And do we share the schedule with Old Town Business Association? So like the restaurants could advertise with them and maybe consider discounts to ACL cruisers.
We'll make sure that's shared.
Okay.
Good idea.
Not certain that that's been done in the past, but it's a great suggestion. We'll make sure that that's done.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Foster?
Did we, since we do have 2 dockings here in Portsmouth for the rest of this year, are we going to have an opportunity as a commission for the tour? I know they're only on Saturdays, I think their dockings are for when they're in Portsmouth here. Was that something?
For the rest of this year. I
Yeah,
think
for the
it's
rest of this
Saturday.
year.
At other times, they're during.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're open to doing that. We'll get in touch with them prior to the October call and see what we can arrange and spread the word and be down at the seawall at 1300 on X day and we'll get on board.
That'd be great.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, 3920, 3930 Burton Points Road. Brian?
Chair, we wanted to share that the proposed terms that were voted on at your August meeting for modifications and amendment of the purchase and sale agreement for Burton's Point Road, that those were accepted by Stonemont Financial Group, and the amended sale agreement has been executed by the PPIC. It is now with the development group, and we're just waiting on a fully executed version to come back. Again, that adjusted the sale price to $600,000, extended the due diligence period to November 15th. And then the other modification was a condition that the property would be developed as a 182,000 square foot warehouse distribution facility, but giving them some flexibility to not go below 150,000 in terms of the square footage should there be a need for any modifications. So those were all accepted, and we're just waiting on the final signature for that.
All right. And any questions or comments regarding that? Hearing none. Let's discuss the Southgate Annex of the shipyard. Brian?
We want to make sure that everybody's aware of the opportunity here at the Navy's Southgate Annex property along Burton's Point Road. This is actually just across the street from the site we were just discussing. We have been working with the Navy over the last 6+ years to keep this in front of them. And that conversation has evolved as we've had change of commands every few years, but there's been some recent re-engagement, and I would like to ask Chair Councilman Hugel if he would oblige to provide an update on some of those recent changes and conversations. This appears to have a little bit of movement.
Yeah, sure, happy to do that. So interesting things happening in the way of command and control at the Navy Yard. So there was a recent change of command the first Friday of August. That change of command saw a Navy 1-star admiral take over as the shipyard commander. So it's been quite a while since we had a flag officer running the shipyard. Interestingly, he doesn't have a shipyard background. He was a former aircraft carrier commanding officer. So same time that he relieved as the shipyard commander, during that same ceremony, the Navy stood up a brand new command called the Norfolk Naval Shipyard Industrial Operations Command. So the guy who is that commanding officer is the shipyard expert. He's the guy that was originally ordered in to be the shipyard commander, and then the Navy decided to tinker. This is a pilot program. Navy's advertising this as a pilot program to test to see if having a 1-star flag officer in charge helps to cut through the red tape that sometimes gets in the way with the rest of the Navy to support the shipyard effort, with hope that this new construct will improve industrial performance, get ships out earlier than they have been. Same time, the Navy has put some additional captains in place besides this industrial operations guy. One of the captains that they actually put in place back in February, and he officially stands up his command on the 1st of October, is the installation commander. So think of this guy as the landlord of the shipyard. So he owns the property outside the industrial area. He owns the property over at Scott Center. He owns the responsibility to make sure that the commissary and the exchange and the barracks and the gymnasium, all that sailor support stuff is working efficiently. And that command now has been separated out of the shipyard. So the shipyard industrial operation is actually a tenant on that installation, and the installation landlord provides support to the shipyard industrial operations. Why is all that important? Well, Southgate Annex belongs to the installation commander, the landlord, if you will. So the discussions that we have had in the past with the guy who was in the base support officer role as a department head to the shipyard commander, that person now has a command of his own, the installation command. And that command is called Naval Support Activity Portsmouth. So the dealings that we have to engage the Navy to collaborate, hopefully at some point with an extended use lease, which the Navy is interested in pursuing. Our dealings will be with Naval Support Activity Portsmouth. And the guy who's actually sitting in that position now is Captain Steve Ramsey. So Captain Ramsey actually formally stands up his installation command, NSA Portsmouth, on the 1st of October. So there's some of the moving pieces. I told my wife at the change of command for the shipyard commander, back in the day, all of that stuff fell under the shipyard commander. So I feel somewhat gratified to know that now the Navy has 5 people doing what I used to do in command of the shipyard. And those 5 people are 1 star and 4 captains. Anyway, going to be interesting to see how this pilot pans out and whether it has the impact that the Navy's hoping for in terms of improved schedule performance on the ships on the shipyard waterfront.
Any questions, comments regarding that information? Thank you, Councilman Hugel.
Welcome.
Want to add anything to that?
Well, the only addition I would make, and it's a request, would be for if Councilman Hugel can continue with supporting the coordination of a introduction meeting with Captain Ramsey once he takes command. And I think that we could look to have members of the PPIC in attendance. I know in a couple of prior years we've done I think a tour of Southgate. For those who haven't been, it might be helpful to lay eyes on the property that we're talking about, the potential for an enhanced use lease agreement. But just an ask for continued support. We've been very engaged and we appreciate that, but would like to get an introduction when appropriate.
Yeah. Maybe another interesting element that PPIC intersects with is SIPSA is going to develop the tipping station property over on Victory Boulevard, kind of where Victory intersects with Elm Avenue, that corner, which of course is near Burton's Point Road. It's at the foot of the Jordan Bridge, and it's at the rear access to Norfolk Naval Shipyard. So there has been an effort, a collaboration effort between SIPSA, the Jordan Bridge, the Navy, and the city to go unravel the traffic bottleneck that's there on Elm Avenue right at the foot of the Jordan Bridge. So that work is continuing and will continue. And SIPSA in particular is interested in having that bottleneck unsnarled because eventually that tipping station becomes the sorting station for SIPSA trash, not just for Portsmouth, but for other trash across Hampton roads. So the traffic in and out of that area is going to pick up as SIPSA eventually makes their investment in that property. And because it intersects with Burton's Point Road, the sale that you all have ongoing to work with the company that's building out that logistics facility, and our interest in Southgate Annex, which is access from Burton's Point Road, all of that traffic snarl kind of all comes together. So the folks that are interested and have been working on this all have a stake in making the new traffic pattern come out right.
Sure, if I can just
Please.
add a comment to that. Thank you for that update. That item was one that was included during the joint meeting presentation that was made for the city council back in July. And that was one of the asks I think that the PPIC had was continued support for traffic improvements in the city of Burton's Point Road. That area is really, I think, positioned to transform into more of a commerce and industrial park from what it kind of exists as today. And for that to happen, I think the road improvements will be extremely important. The local road network is not able to support, I think, the development interest that we're seeing right now. Burton's Point Road, prime example of that. We're fortunate enough that we've got a road project there underway. I'm told that should be completed here in the coming months. But you're very much on point with what's around that. That intersection is quite challenging to navigate, especially when the shipyard is letting out in the afternoon. That is a tremendous bottleneck.
Going to get even more interesting as SIPSA works with Wheelabrator to tear down the old Wheelabrator power plant. So the Navy has built a new power plant kind of back in that same neck of the woods. And the Navy eventually will recover the Wheelabrator plant property once the power station has been torn down. I don't know yet what the Navy plans to do with that property, although kind of makes sense to me to be a perfect spot to build a parking garage for all the sailors that are currently parking over in Southgate Annex and having to walk half a mile to a mile from Southgate over into the south end of the shipyard. But time will tell what the Navy decides to do with that property. It just adds to the need to unravel the traffic snarl that kind of is all kludged together there.
New business, the 2025 VMA International Trade Symposium happening October 14th through the 16th. Brian.
Yes, in just a few weeks, the 22nd Annual International Trade Symposium, which is hosted by the Virginia Maritime Association, will be held in Norfolk. This is really kind of a premier event on the East Coast, but really it's goes kind of further beyond that with a national and international reach. So we have an audience that will be in attendance from across the globe in Norfolk, the 14th through the 16th, discussing, meeting on all matters related to shipping, ports, logistics, and global commerce. I do believe that there is an interest on the part of a few commissioners in attending, so we've included some of the details here for opportunities to do that. There are several events that are going to be held and will be occurring in addition to the 2-day symposium itself. There are some networking opportunities. There's a maritime mixer the afternoon of the 15th and a very well-attended banquet the evening of the 16th of October. You can see the pricing's been included there. You do have funds available in your budget for participation and attendance, but you just need to know who's interested. So this is, I guess, a call for interest, and we can certainly help with registration for those who want to attend.
If you're interested in attending, please forward an email so that we can get you registered for your attendance for the events that you wish to attend.
And we will circulate this via email as well as a link to the website if you want to look at some detailed information on the event opportunities. Just feel free to respond and let us know who wants to.
So Brian, are you gonna attend?
Staff attends annually, so we actually are a sponsor. We have a booth. We will be in attendance for the entire symposium. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. Please don't forget to get that over to them as soon as possible so that we are aware who will be in attendance. There is no need for a closed meeting. I have no items submitted by commissioners. Do you?
Chair, we did not receive any in response to our email last week.
Thank you. I do not have any report backs that I'm aware of. Do you, sir?
No, we do not.
All right. Well, that concludes our agenda for today. Thank you so much for everybody attending. This meeting is now adjourned.